damn music. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do, right here on Sirius XM Mad Dog Sports Radio every weekday afternoon from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Number to call up, as always, is 888-MAD-DOG-6. That is 888-623-3646. Let me come right out the box, right now, and warn everybody. I am not having a very good day. I got major attitude today. There's a level of tolerance that I just don't have. And I'm warning everybody today. This ain't the day to mess with me. I am telling you right now, this ain't the day. Please be forewarned, this ain't the day. Because the kind of stuff that I have on my mind, the kind of attitude that I have on my mind reeks my nerves to such a degree that I don't know what to do with myself. Contrary to what might serve as an indication when I'm on General Hospital playing the role of Brick, I am no actor. I admire actors. I wish I was as gifted as them. Maybe if I practiced to learn, maybe I would be. But I am no actor. I say what I mean what I say, and that is that. I'm not one who gives a damn about what other people believe when I know I'm right. When I'm wrong, I don't mind being corrected. And I'm always open to modifications because they may have been angles that I did not see. But outside of that, I don't give a damn. Never have, don't now, never will. Period. And I'm saying that because on this particular day, let me be the first to say that I got a huge, huge problem. You see, it's a day like today where LeBron James, the superstar basketball player, compared to the 12 or 13-year veteran that is James Harrison. They're not just oceans apart in terms of the field or the court of play. They're oceans apart off the court or off the field of play. Because one exercises common sense and the other wants to be a Billy Badass and act like he don't know what that is. Obviously, I'm talking about James Harrison for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me be the first to say, I respect him as a football player. I respect him as a man. I respect what he taught his son when he threw away that, sportsmanship trophy award and whatever it was. And he was like, nah, there's a standard. You're pursuing excellence. But this stuff going on between him and the NFL league office, emanating from the whole Al Jazeera report that alleged that both he, Clay Matthews, Peyton Manning at one time, along with others, were using PEDs. This stuff really rakes my nerves. Because you see, here's what it has morphed into. In case y'all don't know, James Harrison is making news. Because his belief is that, look, man, I don't feel like going up to the league office. I'll be damned if I have to go up to the league office. Of course, the Players Association is going to defend him. They should. They represent players. We understand where they're coming from, although I think they need to be monitoring their dollars a little bit more and picking the fights that they pick and being judicious about it because their pockets aren't deep as the league office financed by 32 billionaire owners. Nevertheless, I will concede and will acknowledge and will admit that the Players Union, the Players Association, is right to come to the defense of any player. We get all of that. We get it. But when it comes to players, particularly black players, you don't know what time it is? You're James Harrison, and you're literally going to go on the record in the aftermath of the league office saying you will show up to their office by August 26th, or you will be suspended probably for a minimum of 3 to 4 games. You're trying to tell me you're going to stick up your chest and act like you don't have to answer that? James Harrison was actually quoted talking to the media. He was on camera. He was talking to the media saying, hey, I ain't got no problems. They want to come talk to me. Come talk to me. No, they told you to come to them. Now, if they change their mind, they change their mind. And if they decide they want to fly to Pittsburgh to talk to you, they want to fly to Pittsburgh to talk to you. But if Roger Goodell in the league office has summoned you to the league office, damn it, you better go. Or get ready to be suspended. Mind you, everything that I just said has nothing to do with why I'm pissed off. You know why I'm pissed? You know why I'm ticked off? Because you got idiots out here who actually think that his position is favorable, that his position is right. We're so quick to tell these guys, go for it, fight, 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 fight. Nobody ever says, pick the fights that are wise. Pick the fights that you can win. The league office didn't sit there and say, James Harrison, admit that you used PEDs or else. And he's defiant because he's innocent. They did not say that. What they said was, we want to talk to you. A statement from you followed by no Q&A is unacceptable. Now they want to lean on the collective bargaining and all of this other stuff. So you know what Roger Goodell's going to do? He's going to suspend James Harrison. James Harrison is going to lose more than $1 million because you don't want to take a flight from Pittsburgh? Really? Because you don't want to take a flight from Pittsburgh to New York City. That's why. Because if you're willing to meet with them at your crib, how come you ain't willing to meet with them at their crib? Especially when either scenario is going to save you money. And it's going to help your team. I like Ryan Shazier. Jarvis Jones needs to continue to develop. Tua is a bad boy. Timmons is too. So is Bud Dupree. They got a chance this year. Could use James Harrison. Don't need him going for 4 games. Not when Le'Veon Bell is going to be gone for 4 games. Not when Martavis Bryant is definitely going to be gone for the season because he could not stay off the weed. And oh, by the way, not only could he not stay off the weed, but since he's been suspended, do you know this dude had the audacity to sit up there and call himself rehabbing and getting himself better, but he chilling in L.A.? Not Pittsburgh or some southern town. I forgot where he's from. Oh, you in L.A. That's where you want to go and cure your ills. Really? Really? You got to be kidding me. And then you're James Harrison, and you are taking this position. My angst, my ire, my disgust is not directed at James Harrison directly per se. It's to all those people out there that don't want to spew legit, bona fide arguments to sort of veer him away from what may ail him. You have a boss. You have a boss. And this is in this society that we live in, everybody is of the mindset that being a rebel is all that it takes. Nobody can identify with that. Let me take that back, because there's a lot of old school dudes that can. But in this modern day era, when it talks about being a rebel, I got no problems with that. I love that. But you got to be a rebel with a cause. Roger Goodell is the boss coming to you and asking you to have a conversation, a Q&A with the league office is not too much to ask. And when you sit up there and you want to act like you want to be defined, well, you know who acted like that? Tom Brady. James Harrison, you think you're more valuable to the NFL than Tom Brady? Have you looked in the mirror? Have you checked your resume? Have you substantiated and authenticated your credentials? You really think you compare to Tom Brady? Really? Is that what you think, James Harrison? Is that what you think? Tom Brady is going to serve 4 games. Tom Brady took that one step towards the Supreme Court and still ended up serving his penance. He fought and spent millions of dollars in lawyer fees. He can afford it, by the way. But he lost. What do you think this is? What do you think is going on here? This notion that these guys, people that want to go out there and support these guys. Support them for what? Support them unemployed? I had my man Damian Woody, noted NFL analyst for ESPN, gonna sit up there and ask me that damn question. Am I in the pocket of the league? I ain't in nobody's damn pocket. I'm in my own pocket. But I do understand rules and regulations, and I do understand what level of power I have and how my power is limited. I'm not stupid, and I don't think it's wise to advise somebody else to be stupid. You could very well be right if you're James Harrison. You could very well be right if you're Damian Woody in terms of what's right and wrong. But guess what else is right? A collective bargaining agreement was negotiated. And the Players Association, because they didn't want the two-a-days and because they didn't want the physical activity, they wanted that trimmed down a little bit. They fought that fight. Plus, they wanted more money. They got that. And in return, the owner said, we want a 10-year deal. And oh, by the way, not only do we want a 10-year deal, which was very unconventional, by the way, but we also want to make sure that the commissioner's power is not diminished or limited in any way. You want your money? You want less of a workload? You want less of a jurisdiction and a purview at the, under the guise of NFL coaches and organizations and beyond? This is what we want in return. That's what it is. You know what that is, ladies and gentlemen? That's an agreement with your employer. You can call it a partnership all you want to, but you are the employee. And when Roger Goodell, the commissioner, comes calling you, that's what it is. I'll give you a perfect example. Call me what you want. You think if John Skipper or Connor Shell or Stephanie Drewley or Bob Iger, the CEO of Walt Disney, look, Stephen A., I need you to roll up. You need to roll a Burbank. I ain't talk to you. What you think I'm doing? I'm going. Because he's the boss. And he summoned me there. And y'all know, all of you out there working 9 to 5s, busting your tail, paying your bills, working your behind off. No good and damn well you'd go to your boss's office too if you were summoned there. Why the hell are you advising James Harrison to do otherwise? See, it takes me back to something that I had long time ago. Over a decade and a half ago. Had this conversation at least 15 years ago. Had this conversation with Allen Iverson. Talked about being real. He talked about being authentic, unapologetic. He could do what he wants to do. He could dress the way he wants to dress. He could look the way he wants to look. He could act the way he wants to act. Fine. I said, you're absolutely right, AI. I just had a couple of questions. When you were drafted in 1996, what were you wearing on draft day? That was a suit. Remember that? Go back and look at footage. The braids that were in your hair at the time, were you wearing the braids then? No, you weren't. You had a nice fade. Tattoos all over it. Did you have that then? No, you didn't. You know why? Because you were trying to get paid. It was once you got paid that you said, let's be real. So at the end of the day, not that he realized it, because the minute he realized what I was saying, he got my point. Because some people just don't get it, and that's fine. It's when you do get it, but you still want to be defined with somebody else's money and somebody else's career and somebody else's livelihood that you ain't worth a damn. I'm not talking about James Harrison. I'm talking about the fools out there who would advise him to maintain his position, knowing it's going to cost him, knowing it may cost the Steelers, knowing it may cost Tom Coughlin. But you're going to advise him to do it anyway. Because it ain't your money. And it ain't your career. And it ain't your livelihood. So you don't give a damn. You know how you all are saying? You're the same when it comes to the weed. You got guys like my man Max Kellerman on ESPN2 with me on First Take. Every weekday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Talking about how, you know what? They shouldn't even be tested for weed. Fair enough. That's not the point, though, is it? The point is they do test for weed. In a league you voluntarily entered and signed a contract to play in. By the way, there are 32 teams in the NFL. Do you know that for 30 of the teams in the league, they reside in a state where weed is illegal? Weed is only legal, ladies and gentlemen, in 4 states. Colorado, Washington, Oregon, and Alaska. So for NFL purposes, the Denver Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks preside in a state where weed use is illegal. The other 30 teams, it is illegal. And since you're under the guise of the NFL, and the NFL is of the mindset that we can't make something legal that's illegal in 30 of the states, and we certainly can't be a proponent of allowing 2 of the teams in the league to use it without punishment, but ignore that latitude for the other 30, we have come to a conclusion that as a league, we will test for it. It is illegal. And until the government tells us otherwise or make modifications, therefore inciting us to probably do the same, this is what it is. And guess what they're doing, ladies and gentlemen? They're saying in return, we'll give you millions of dollars. But you're Marcel Darius. For the Buffalo Bills, you didn't want to listen. So you've cost yourself nearly $2 million. You're going to be suspended for 4 games. On a defense that desperately needs you because you went from having 54 sacks the year before to just 21 last year. With a coach in Rex Ryan that you players swear you'll walk through a wall for, knowing his job is on the line, knowing he's got to get it together. And you won't be there for at least a quarter of the season because you can't stay off the weed. Really? Really? Are you an addict? Martavis Brown, are you an addict? Carlos Williams, are you an addict? The list goes on and on. How many dudes do I need to point to? Are you addicts? That's our response now to dealing with potential addicts. Let's just not test them. Really? But you want to sell an NFL product to Madison Avenue. You want to continue generating billions annually. You want them to sell the products to the masses. You want to sit up there and act like you recognize the fact that you're role models to a younger generation of individuals on the come up following your example. To get to the NFL. And then we hear the most idiotic of things. You got players in the NFL with guns. Let's teach them how to use guns. Let's teach them about gun safety. You really think that's the problem? As far as I'm concerned, even though it's not most, it's not all, it's not even a lot. It's the very few. We all know the very few taint the many. And those very few who do it, I have no doubt they know how to use guns already. You're just teaching them how to use them better. But that doesn't address their temper. That doesn't address the few that I'm talking about and their willingness to harm other human beings. Sure you the NFL, you want to get involved in that? You sure you want that potential liability? I'm just saying. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. What damn world are y'all living in? I mean, people are getting on my nerves here because it's senseless. And see, when I sat up there, and like I said, I'm not going to get into politics here. That ain't what ESPN and SiriusXM hired me for. I'm not going there. I'm not telling you what candidate to pick for, what candidate to pick against. I'll never go there. But these issues are pertinent issues, not just in sports, not just in politics, but in life because we need to talk about them. We need to talk about them. This is why I take your phone calls every day, because I want to talk about them. I just need your points to be quick because my lines are always full. But you need to understand what's going on. We heard the Republican nominee for the presidency of the United States talk last night and blame a particular party for the plight of black people in the United States of America. My response to that is simple. I'd love to hear the response from the Democratic side. I want to hear what both sides have to say. I don't want to sit there and dismiss one derogatorily and embrace the other. Both of you are trying to get my vote. Flatter me. Flatter me. I want to hear. I might have an idea who the hell I'm voting for. That ain't the point. I want to be flattered. I might know I want to buy this car, but I'll be damned if I ain't going to other dealerships to see if I can get a better offer. I'll be damned if I want that particular car that I'm not going to come back to that particular dealer and say, hey, I got these offers on the table. What you got for me? Same thing is applicable to a house or clothes or a watch or anything that you're trying to purchase. You know why? Because they want your money, which means that the product they're selling needs to be attractive enough for you to spend your money. The same principle comes with everything. This is real life. This is the real world. And damn it, y'all had better wake up and get with the damn program. I started off this show by talking about James Harrison because it's the same situation. Your immediate boss are the Rooneys because you play for the Steelers. But the Rooneys are the ones that empowered Roger Goodell. And giving Roger Goodell that dominion, he has the right to do what he wants to do. That makes him your boss. Because your boss says he's your boss. Robert Kraft wanted to protect Tom Brady. How did that work out? Because he conceded power to Roger Goodell for the greater good of the league. Roger Goodell is the boss of the NFL. He's the commissioner. And if he wants you to come to see him, go see him or hold on to your pride and take millions out of your bank account. Because whatever James Harrison's salary is, and I don't know what it is, I know at the very least he's going to lose 6 figures, possibly 7. And all of that because you don't want to get on a plane and go an hour away to New York. That's why. Roger Goodell didn't tell you not to come with your union representation. He didn't tell you not to come with a lawyer. He didn't tell you to come strictly by yourself. He didn't tell you any of the things. He just said he wants to talk to you. And you're going to say no? Like you don't have to worry about any repercussions? You're going to say no? Like the Players Association is going to fight on your behalf can prevent you from losing your money? And even if they are successful in preventing you from losing your money because you ultimately get your money back, what they can't prevent you from doing is missing games, which is going to cost Mike Tomlin and your teammates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. All that because you don't want to get on a plane? Do y'all remember the movie Pulp Fiction? You remember when Ving Rhames, was talking to Bruce Willis in that scene where they were playing Al Green in the background? Let's Stay Together. I'm so in love with you. No, I can't sing. I know that. But do you remember that scene? Let me sing it to you. Let me say it to y'all right now. Show you how bad I am when it comes to my movies. Are you ready for this? Nuno, do we have Let's Stay Together by Al Green? Because I remember Ving Rhames' lyrics to Bruce Willis, verbatim. If we don't have it, don't worry about it. He starts it off. The night of the fight, you might feel a slight sting. That's pride effing with you. F pride. Pride only hurts. It never helps. That was Ving Rhames to Bruce Willis. That's Stephen A. to James Harrison and all those people out there that are advising him to defy the commissioner. None of them are trying to pay your bills. None of them are going to replace the money that will be taken out of your pocket from a suspension. None of them can go on the field for you to play for Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's pride effing with you, James Harrison. Bump pride. Take your behind to New York and sit down with the commissioner. He is your boss, after all. Or you can always stop it by quitting the NFL and going to work somewhere else. That is the real world. Ain't my rule, ain't James Harrison rule, ain't none of y'all rule. That is the real world. For your job, for my job, and everybody else's. Let's stop advising people to be stupid and harmful to themselves. You ain't looking out for anybody when you do otherwise. You only looking out for yourself. 888-MAD-DOG-6 is the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. I see all of y'all on Facebook and beyond hollering at me. You know the number. I just gave it to you. Call the damn show. I ain't going nowhere till 3 o'clock. Peace. It's past hour number 1 back here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. 888-MAD-DOG-6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3616. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to Kenny in Tennessee. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. What's going on, Kenny? Good afternoon. Kenny, are you there? Kenny, are you there? Goodbye, Kenny. Bilal in Tennessee. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. Bilal, good afternoon.
Bilal from Harlem, Stephen A.
All right, they got you from Tennessee. My apologies, bro. Bilal from Harlem. You're live. What's going on, Bilal? Thank you for calling. What's going on, bro?
I got to tell you, I'm not a man who's easily swayed. Opinion's easily swayed. Once I have my opinion, I think about it, and I'm stuck in it. But after listening to your soliloquy, and you added Vin Rames into that, you swayed me, brother, because at first I was opposed to you totally for James Harrison. And the reason why I was opposed, because I said, listen, we both agree that Roger Goodell has too much power, and what he's doing is wrong. And the only way you can change something, sometimes you have to break the law. But upon further contemplation of your position, I totally agree with you. He has to do what's best for him and his family, and losing money and not helping the Steelers, and I'm an avid Steeler fan, even though I'm from New York, won't help. So right. You swayed me, man.
Bilal, I appreciate that. Let me break something down to you, man, because I really, really appreciate you calling and expressing what you just expressed. I need you to do me a favor, bro. And I need you to help me out here, because despite the fact that I'm on national TV every weekday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on First Take, and then I come on this national radio show from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Time right here on Mad Dog Sports Radio, for some reason my words get misconstrued or people don't hear me. I don't understand it, man. But I will tell you this. It is rare in the day where you're going to see me take a position that's really, really different from what most folks know to be right and wrong. What I think people don't get, Bilal, and I think more folks out here, white, black, and otherwise, need to get, there is a difference between being right and wrong and compartmentalizing what's the right and wrong thing to do in a situation, regardless of what's right and wrong. And what I mean by that is this. James Harrison is not wrong for not wanting to go to the commissioner. He is not wrong if indeed he didn't use PEDs when he makes the argument, well, anybody could accuse me of anything and then the commissioner could call me. But the problem is it's the wrong thing to do, despite how right he is. It's the wrong thing to do for him to avoid the commissioner because you're acting like he ain't the boss, which is going to provoke him to show you that he is. And that is going to cost you money, games, or both. You feel me?
What I think exacerbated it is when he got on TV and said, listen, he can come to my house. You're playing chess. You're not playing checkers, James Harrison. You got to be smarter than that.
Exactly.
You got to be smarter than that.
And I'm just simply saying, if the boss didn't tell you don't come without representation, the boss didn't tell you don't come whether it's without the union or your lawyers. And by the way, let's not act like you wouldn't mind missing a day of training camp so you could go and fly an hour to New York. Let's not act like let's stop acting like that's the end of the world. You're going to save yourself money. Why invite the headache? You feel me?
Absolutely.
Appreciate the call, bro. Thank you so much, man. I mean, I don't understand y'all. I don't understand people out there that's going to sit up there, oh, it's not right. Damn it, of course it's not right. Of course Roger Goodell has too much power. Hell, he might be abusing it too much. We get it. But you didn't know that when you signed that collective bargaining agreement? You didn't know that the NFL was going to push the envelope? And nobody is saying that the Morris Smith and the Players Association shouldn't fight it. But this is what you're fighting? You don't do this. What you do is you say, okay, we'll meet with you, but here's what the deal is going to be. We're coming with them. Except you could do those things. But to sit up there and act like, hey, he can come to my house. Well, guess what? If he could come to your house, that means you're willing to meet him. So now you're trying to dictate the terms like you have power. You do not. You do not. And these are the kind of things that we have to do to help each other. I listen to my girl Karen Hunter on Sirius XM's Urban View Channel 126 practically every day, every chance I get. I go back and forth between her and Sean Hannity. I listen to my man Joe Madison on the same channel every weekday morning. Every chance I get, not every weekday morning, but I catch them a lot. Both of them talk about right and wrong all the time. Nobody talks about sacrifice more than Joe Madison. He's absolutely right. But doesn't there need to be a purpose to that? You're James Harrison. Let me get this straight. You're not refusing to meet with Roger Goodell because you are completely innocent. You're refusing to fly to see him because you want him to come see you. And that's why you costing yourself millions. Really? You have any idea how senseless that is? Oh, you're going to come see me. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Juan and Cali, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, what's up, boss? I just had the same thing as the lot from Harlem. I just think that James Harrison is taking a bad position with it. And honestly, I feel like what Damian Woody said to you earlier, how you're in the league's pockets, I found that extremely disrespectful to you, knowing that you always back up the players, you always back up the league, and for him to say that was completely absurd, and like you say, it's asinine.
Well, listen, Damian Woody's my friend. I didn't like the fact that he said that, but let's take it in the spirit that it was given. He's a former player. And I was saying to him, the hell with right and wrong. You're not the boss. The commissioner is. He summons you to the office, you go. And Damian Woods, Damian had a problem with it because he's a former player. So anybody that took my position, he would say that about. He's my friend. I love Damian. Damian Woody is my man. Okay. And it ain't like I'm going to fight him. I don't want to get killed now. Okay. So, I mean, I'm just going to have to take it. You understand? I'm just going to have to take his mouth, talking to me about that because I'll be damned if I'm going to do something about it other than talk back. Other than talk back. Ain't nothing I can do to Damian Woody. What am I going to do? I disagree with him. I told him. You understand? And to save my life, I mean, let's call it what it is. To save the man, not that he would, because Damian Woody, I'm a little brother to that man. That man loves me. Come on now. But if you wanted to, come on now. Let's call it what it is. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I have one more question.
Yes.
I'm a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan.
Oh God.
You think we're making the playoffs this year?
I think you win in the NFC East. I've said that. That's what I believe. I think the Dallas Cowboys got a shot to win the NFC East. I've said that. I'm on the record. Appreciate the call, though, because I don't want to talk to you anymore because you're a Dallas Cowboy fan. Let's go to McCoy in Florida. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, McCoy?
Hey, thanks, Steve, man. A long-time listener, man. We really need you on the radio, man. I appreciate everything you do.
All right. Thank you.
Just a few points, bro. First, you right on point with this whole James Harrison situation. Look, it's like Dave Chappelle, when keeping it real goes wrong. And that's the situation Harrison's facing if he keep on this stance, man. It's crazy. But people don't want to hear that. You know, people don't want to hear that. They're talking about the right and wrong, like you say. It's not about that. It's about what you got to do to get on to what you got to do, and that's getting on the field and getting that money for what you got to do. And that's what he got to do. And, you know, they got the collective bargaining agreement with Goodell. They shouldn't have gave up that power. You know, now they got to deal with it.
Exactly. And not only that, listen, man, it ain't like he fighting because, you know, he refuses to meet with them at all. He fighting because, no, they can come see me. I'm not coming to see them. Really? That's your argument? When millions might be at stake? Really? I don't want to fly from Pittsburgh to New York. 45 minutes or an hour flight. I don't want to fly there to see you. Really? Come on now. We ain't got no papers,
that's crazy. That's crazy, man. The only thing I will say for him, though, I do feel a little bit funny that how they cleared Manning and said, look, everything's good.
So do
we
I.
got the report and everything. But they don't want to come out and say anything about these other guys.
You know what?
That's the funny part to me.
He could have brought that up. He could have brought that up. McCoy. You know what he brought up instead? Pedophiles. Like that got anything to do with it. I mean, you got to be kidding me.
Exactly. Bro, keep doing what you're doing, man. I appreciate you, man. Listen, every day I can, man. First time calling in, so I really appreciate it, bro.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. This 888-623-3646. More of your phone calls in a minute with Stephen A. I'm Mad Dog. What's Radio got a few items in hour number 2 to get into. DeAndre Jordan, Olympic basketball, and of course some more NFL stuff to get into. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. It's 888-623-3646. Let's try Kenny in Tennessee again. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. Kenny, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
There you go. What's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, what's happening?
All right, man.
Hey, I got a question. Like with James Harrison, right? Like, how do your name get on the Al Jazeera report if they don't, you know, like if you haven't been busted or something?
Whoa. We don't even need to go there. Here's why, okay? Number one, Peyton Manning's name was on there. Peyton Manning. Let me finish. Peyton Manning met with the league, and they cleared him.
Right.
So my point to you is, now you can think of that whatever you want, how convenient that is, et cetera, but nevertheless, that is what happened. What the league will contend is that, you see, he met with us. And the same fate may be coming to you. But who are you to defy us by telling you you're not going to meet with us while playing in our league under our shield? You don't get to do that. So as a result, it's not about James Harrison's guilt or innocence. The league ain't even going there. The league's position is very, very simple. We are the bosses. You don't get to defy us. Tom Brady and Deflategate, by and large, transpired because of his defiance. You know, the messing up with the cell phone and, you know, and all of this other stuff. No, they're like, no. We have the right to attach a presumption of guilt to your actions if you impede an investigation, if you don't talk to us, if you don't make yourself accessible, all of these different things. That's when you provoke the ire of the National Football League. Roger Goodell has proven he's not having it. If he didn't have it, Kenny, if he didn't have it with Tom Brady, what the hell you think he's going to do with James Harrison?
Right, and then he's the one that was, like, with the award for his son, participation award. So basically he's teaching his son not to respect authority by not, you know what I mean, like meeting with this guy face to face, basically.
Well, yeah, that's the whole point. You know, listen, where I'm at is that, you know, you can't be defined. You can't find yourself in a situation where it's one of those things where you're James Harrison and you're going to be defined to the league. That just can't happen. That just cannot happen.
And it's not like he's got to fly on his dime. If they want him there, they're going to pay for him to be there, I'm sure.
Look, man, whatever the flight from Pittsburgh to New York is going to cost him ain't nothing compared to the money he's going to lose if he don't show up.
He's going to lose. Right, I got you.
That's the reality.
All right. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much. Let's go to Chris in Maryland. You're live with Stephen A. Mad Dog. What's up? Chris, are you there? Chris in Maryland, are you there?
Yeah.
Man, you better stop talking to whoever the hell you talking to. You live on the airwaves. What's up?
Can you hear me now?
Come on now. Man? What, you talking to your girl or somebody? I mean, what the hell's going on?
I think I got a Sprint, man. The service is kind of spotty out
all
here.
All right. Oh, so you blaming it on Sprint. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let me get off. But I wanted to comment on this whole issue with the substance abuse.
Okay, by the way, Sprint sounds pretty damn good right now, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So I wanted to make a comment on the issue with the substance abuse problem. So there's been a lot of articles, a lot of people this issue has been talked about more recently. And Jim McMahon himself has said that he feels that, Big Pharma is in cahoots with the NFL. And now, these players that go out there, they put their life on the line, they're risking concussions, their bodies are sore, but it's like we want to be petty with testing them for marijuana. But we'll give them, painkillers and feed those drugs to them. And actual players have taken that, that case to court, and the federal judge dismissed it. So it's like when people try to go about it the right way and not try to defy the system lets them down. So it's like, how do you get any sense of justice when you go about it the right way and you say, hey, these guys are giving us, because those drugs turn you into an addict too. You get addicted to those drugs, and they're pushing that on these players. So my thing is they promote the alcohol on TV. We see the beer commercials all day on Sunday. They're giving these players these drugs to use, but we want to have this fight against the whole marijuana thing. And to me, I see it as this league with majority black players. We already know the stigma of marijuana and, the political side of it, of how many people go to jail for nonviolent crimes. And I think it just perpetuates that stigma by trying to keep it legal, or at least not opening up the discussion for it. So, that was my comment on what I was saying.
But here's my problem. Here's my problem.
Right.
You say that, okay, but isn't that an issue the Players Association is supposed to be addressing? These are what negotiations are for. This is what you had an opportunity to negotiate at the time. It's not like the conditions changed. Roger Goodell's power was a concern of y'all's when you negotiated. It's not like you had a great agreement with great relationships and then Roger Goodell and y'all complete the deal and then all of a sudden a new man showed up. You had these same complaints going into the last collective bargaining agreement, negotiations rather. You had the same complaints, did you not? How come it wasn't addressed then? You know why it wasn't addressed? Because you had other things on your mind that you wanted.
Right.
All right?
Exactly.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah,
Thank you so
that's
much.
a good point.
All right, my man. Thank you. John in North Carolina, you're live with Stephen A. Real quick, John, go ahead.
Stephen A. Brick.
My man, what's going on?
Nothing, man, but a lot of you and a lot of these people are so lost. And I understand how you operate once you get fixated on something. You really don't hear anything else that to the contrary of what you're thinking.
Well, I will say this to you. I will say this to you. I've never been accused of that. I'm actually a very good listener, but go ahead.
I've worked for 3 different unions. I've been a Teamster, I've worked for the tobacco union, and I've worked for the textile union. This is not, nobody's, and everybody keeps using James Harrison as this whipping boy. There's 4 players that are all doing the same thing, but nobody's mentioning their names. Everybody keeps trying to slam James Harrison like he's the poster boy for not going to talk.
He's the only, no. Make your other point, because he's the only one that's been on the record in terms of refusing to go and meet with the commissioner. The others, it's been alluded to that the others may very well go and grant the commissioner his wish, even though they don't want to. He's the one that's been outspoken about it. That's the only reason we're commenting on him, because he's the one that has spoken about it on the record. That's all. Now, what's your other point?
In a union structure. Nobody's challenging Roger. Nobody has said Roger Goodell doesn't have the power. I haven't heard James Harrison say one time that Roger Goodell shouldn't have his power or even mention his power. That's something you guys keep bringing up. All he's saying is he has rights to under the collective bargaining agreement. And as a union member, listen, Stephen, as a union member, Mm-hmm. The company can't just go dragging you in whenever you want. I've been in situations with my union, and if you can't compare it to Tom Brady. The NFL started their investigation on Tom Brady with concrete evidence. Deflated football. They don't have any concrete evidence against these players. And so they're saying that the NFL can't just go on a fishing expedition based on somebody who has nothing to do with the NFL just saying something out there in the world.
All right, I'll listen. We're running out of time. I'll wait until the start of hour number 2 to respond, because you're not wrong, but you're not right either. You're missing the practical points that need to be mentioned. Since you didn't want to listen to me then, you'll have to listen to me at the top of the hour. I'll address exactly what you just explained, John.
College Sports Nation's football.
The Stephen A. Smith Show here with you until the top of the 3 o'clock hour, when I pass it off to the namesake for the channel, Christopher Mad Dog Russo, right here on Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. I got a couple of items, particularly on the NBA, to get into, plus some more football stuff as well. A little college football stuff involving Deshaun Watson, Heisman Trophy favorite out of Clemson. I'll be talking about that a little bit later on in the show as well. But I wanted to go back to John in North Carolina in terms of what he had to say about unions. First of all, John is not wrong. He's absolutely right with the kind of things that he was pointing out. I just think his thought process is incomplete, because he spoke from a very literal perspective, which is what we have a tendency to do. It's not just minorities. It's people that are out there pounding the pavement, the blue-collar, middle-class worker. You look at things from a very, very literal perspective, and you stop right there. I was a member of a union, too. And I don't think John knows that. He's worked under 3 unions. I've worked under 2. Most notably, the latest was in the Philadelphia Inquirer for 16 years. Let's be clear about something. They're absolutely right in terms of the bosses just don't get to summon you to their office without having to go through the union or anything like that. It can get very, very complicated. Here's the flip side. If you are an employee, think about something very, very important for a second. How often do you refuse when the boss summons you because they want to see you? From a practical perspective, you trying to tell me you don't gauge how beneficial that is or detrimental that is to your job security, your future aspirations, etc.? You don't do that? Of course you do. And that's the issue. Roger Goodell in the league office did not say he could not come with his representation. They did not say he couldn't come without a lawyer or somebody. They said, we would like to talk to you. Because a statement that doesn't involve a Q&A does not suffice for us. We also have to understand that the NFL is a private industry. It's not publicly funded. And the laws of the land that religiously apply to the common Joe in a common workplace are not applicable in professional sports leagues. Do regular jobs have to worry about antitrust legislation? Do regular jobs have a draft that stipulates where you must go play? Regular jobs don't have that. Professional sports do. And even though regular jobs, just like professional sports leagues, have a collective bargaining agreement, it's biblical in professional sports leagues. Do you know why? Because so much money is involved, and the entertainment of the consumer is at stake. And as a result, the courts encourage you to lean on that collective bargaining agreement because they don't want to ingratiate themselves into the proceedings for the most part. And as a result, because if they do that, then they're going to open Pandora's box and everybody is going to come their way. Tom Brady would have won his case against Roger Goodell in the NFL if the courts didn't care about that. Because if you just had to go on facts in an American society where you're innocent until proven guilty, guess what? There's no concrete evidence emanating from the Ted Wells investigation that definitively stipulates that Tom Brady was guilty of the figurative crime that the National Football League and Roger Goodell alleges he may have committed. The courts backed off because the court said arm-in-arm negotiations across the table from one another where collective bargaining agreement is reached usurps the purview of the courts. We don't want to get ourselves involved in that. So you're going to have to deal with them. You're going to have to deal with each other. Now, you have had exceptions in the rule, like this former arbitrator and, I think it's special master, Judge Doty, for years. He was the bane of the existence of the National Football League, and you have others. But by and large, this is what the ultimate rulings are. And as a result, that's where we at. That's where we're at. Now, James Harrison, like John in North Carolina said, accurately pointed out, he didn't say anything about the authority of the commissioner. He didn't verbalize anything like that. John's absolutely right. Here's the reality. He didn't have to. By refusing to go to New York, even after learning that the league is going to suspend him if he doesn't, is an act of defiance, tantamount to Tom Brady destroying or changing or omitting stuff from his cell phone. What did the league do then? Now, the Johns and North Carolinas of the world and others would stipulate, well, he fought him. Where'd it get him? See, once again, it brings me back to practicality. And people get so put off because they're fixated on right and wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, let me be very clear. There are 52 weeks in a year. There is not a week that goes by or has gone by in my professional career where I think or where I don't think that something that I deem wrong has not happened to me at the hands of my employer. SiriusXM ain't perfect. They're fantastic. They ain't perfect. ESPN, they're fantastic. They ain't perfect. They ain't perfect. The Philadelphia Inquirer, pretty damn good. Ain't perfect. New York Daily News, loved my first job in this business. They weren't perfect. Every week I come to work. Something happens. What kind of service am I doing to a community out there, particularly youngsters on a come up, if my attitude and my response to everything is fight, fight, fight instead of picking your battles? Understanding and deciphering what's winnable and what isn't. What makes sense and what doesn't. Especially if I'm James Harrison and I'm innocent. If I am innocent and I'm James Harrison, you know what I primarily have to worry about? The inconvenience of a flight to New York. That's it. If I'm innocent. And as far as them being able to summon people, you don't get to just do this, you don't get to just do that. Who would be suspended for 4 games and lose hundreds of thousands of dollars off of what happened with Tom Brady? You have no evidence that he definitively deflated footballs. That he definitively did a host of things. You deduced based on his inaccessibility in one way or another that there was a level of guilt that you would attach to him because in the end, what you said was, we're not satisfied with your level of cooperation. That's what the NFL is saying about James Harrison. That's what they're saying. And James Harrison is in no position to argue that point. Because in the end, If they want to talk to you, they have a right to talk to you. And you don't get to determine the location. Most times, they do. Now, we don't like that. And hopefully, DeMaurice Smith and the NFL Players Association will address this. And somehow, some way, figure out a way to beat Roger Goodell at his own game. But until they do, take your ass to New York City. Meet with the boss. And kill it. And call it a day. That's all. That's all. When we sit up here and we talk about society and we talk about the things that we fight, even when we talk about issues like race, you don't bring it up with everything. You bring it up when it counts. Because to just do it all the time and bring it up no matter what, you're whistling into the wind. Nobody truly hears you. That's what we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen. This is not that hard to comprehend. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. Let's go to Dre in Michigan. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. Dre, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, Stephen A?
Talk to me, bro. How you doing?
All right, I just wanted to chime in a little bit on the James Harrison thing. I think the thing that we missing with this James Harrison and Roger Goodell thing, I think it's a little bit deeper than what we saying on the surface. I think James Harrison know he at the end of his career. Him and Roger Goodell don't have problems throughout his career for a long time. We talk about James Harrison probably got like 1 year left in him. They kind of had to talk him into coming back. So I think James Harrison just going at it and trying to get into it like this with Roger Goodell, because I honestly don't believe that he cared either way if he gets suspended or not.
All right, that's a good that's a good point. But then what we have to concede, Dre, I'm sorry. What we have to concede is this. Then we don't need to be arguing on either James Harrison's or the league's behalf. Because James Harrison basically is instigating this confrontation because of his defiance, because he doesn't care. That's an entirely different argument that John in North Carolina and others are trying to make on his behalf. Wouldn't you say?
Exactly. Yeah, of course. Yeah. James Harrison, all of this stuff that we're trying to say is all about, is not really about that for James Harrison, I don't think. I think it's just about all of these hits and fans and everything that he done took over the years. It's just his time to say, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to do whatever I want, and I don't care what the consequences is. I don't care about all of this stuff, the union, I don't care about none of that. This is just really about me and Roger Goodell, and I'm going to stand up to him.
You know what? I
don't care if it costs me my career.
I got this news for you. If that was James Harrison's position, you wouldn't hear nothing out of me.
Right.
Wouldn't hear anything. Because see how that's a totally different take? But here's the other part where James Harrison would still look wrong. Are you ready for this, Dre? Then why'd you show up in the camp and stay with the team? Because now that they've had you in there, they're going to need you. Whereas you didn't have to come back if you didn't care. Remember, he was accused of this before training camp. His presence was requested before training camp. So if you knew you were going to go through all of that, why bother showing up?
Yeah, but the type of guy that James Harrison guy is, I think that he just wanted to have it out with Roger Goodell.
But Dre, what did I just say? But what did I just say? The point that I'm trying to make is that it's still at the expense of his teammates because they need him.
Exactly.
They need him.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
I just wanted to tell you that me and my kids enjoy listening to you every day. I got them in the car with me. I want them to just say what's up to you. Say
what's going on, fellas? Hey. How y'all doing? All right, man. Listen to your daddy. Listen to your daddy and behave yourself. All right? God bless. Dre, thank you so much for calling, man. I appreciate it, man. Love to hear your kids in the background. Way to go, my brother. You take it easy.
You too.
All right. Twizzy in California. You're live with Stephen A. What's going on, Twizzy?
Hey, what's going on, Stephen A? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you for calling, man. What's up?
Man, you know what, Stephen A., I couldn't agree with you more on so many levels, and it reminds me of one of my favorite songs from the great Scarface and the Ghetto Boys. I know you're familiar with them.
Yes.
The song is called Secret. The Secret is to Win. And that's basically what you're saying, is that the secret is to win, and getting your money took and all that is not winning, even when somebody's wrong. And let me give you a couple quick examples. One quick example real fast is when you're getting pulled over, right? There's been a lot of turmoil between police and the black community, but even though you might be getting pulled over for the wrong thing, you're still supposed to do the right thing. You're still supposed to act accordingly. You're still supposed to show respect for the authority figure and the position of the police officer, even though they may be doing the wrong thing. And that's one example. And another is, you know, I'm a truck driver, and I recently got called in and for an alleged accident. Now, somebody said it was me, but it wasn't, and luckily the cameras showed different. But I still had to go in and sit down and talk about this alleged transgression. You know, it didn't matter that I didn't do it. I know I didn't do it, and somebody just accused me of it just with a phone call, and that's all it took. But I was eventually proven innocent, but still, I had to go in there and I had to sit down and talk about it. And that's just how things are. You know, when you have an employer and you're an employee, you know, if you want to continue that relationship, those are the things that you agree upon doing.
Absolutely. Twizzy, I couldn't have said it better myself, man. Appreciate the call, buddy. Thank you so much. Twizzy in California. Great call. 888-MAD-DOG 6 is always the number to call. It's 888-623-3646. More of your phone calls in a minute. Plus, I'm going to get into a little NBA basketball. DeAndre Jordan said something. Got on my damn nerves. I got to address that, too. It's Stephen A. on Mad Dog. Plus, radio 888-MAD-DOG 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. I'm going to get back to your phone calls in just a minute or so. But there was a couple of other things that I wanted to talk about today because, I got very disturbed this morning. I read a quote from DeAndre Jordan of the Los Angeles Clippers, making the claim that an Olympic gold medal should be viewed by the American basketball community as a more substantive achievement than an NBA championship. He said, quote, "I think they're above NBA rings," is what he's saying about a gold medal. I may get in trouble for saying that, but I believe that. I feel like this is more special. You're not just playing teams in the U.S., you're playing teams from all over the world. And this is even more special because there's an NBA champion crowned every year. But this is every 4 years. You got to really think about that, man, because it's extremely special. A couple of things. Before I even get into what I'm about to say, let me tell you the difference. I went off on Carmelo Anthony. He had to come on the air and apologize. Reason is because Carmelo Anthony was claiming that I took his quotes out of context because he said far more than was actually quoted to us, and that I was not aware of all the things that he had said, and how he said he's still starving for that NBA championship and he still wants it bad, and what his original quotes were basically stemming, if you were retired years removed from the game, as you look back on your career, how would you feel about it? In the case of DeAndre Jordan, understand what he's saying is that he's playing right now, and even if he won an NBA championship, he thinks a gold medal is more valuable. Now, obviously, he wouldn't know because he never won a damn championship. Clippers can't even get to the conference finals. So we understand that that's a problem in and of itself. It's also a problem that you get paid over $80 million. And all of a sudden, your priority is more towards winning gold medals than it is rings. He also ignores the fact that those players from Europe are all salivating to get to the NBA because the NBA is universally recognized as the best basketball league in the world. So why would a gold medal be more valuable than an NBA championship? I don't get that. I don't get that at all. And I'm going to tell you what I also think. I think by and large, this kind of thinking overall is a byproduct of these brothers getting paid the money that they're getting paid. Because you see, when you get paid that money without winning, where's the urgency to win? And I'm in no way saying that they don't work hard and they don't play hard. That's not what I mean when I say that. What I'm saying is that When you know that no matter what happens, the checks are going to still get cut no matter what, and not a dime is going to be minimized. Therein lies your problem. Do y'all want to know why the NFL is the best league in America right now? Because stuff ain't guaranteed. They can come to you, ask you to take a pay cut. They can ask you to restructure your deal. They can waive you. They can cut you. They can do a whole bunch of things to you. You're playing a man's game, and you got to come out there and be the best man you can possibly be every Sunday, or else you don't know what can happen to you. That's what makes the NFL so special. Why is baseball? Why did they lag behind? It's not just because the game is slower and they need to adapt to modern times and speed up the game so a younger generation of folks can ultimately watch and want to play the sport more and more and more. It's also because tradition and the things that you held on to that would be deemed relatively archaic in some folks' minds are things you're still hell-bent on doing. You're still hell-bent on doing. And you know why you're hell-bent on doing it? Because you want to. Because you can get away with it. Because you don't have to worry about repercussions. Because baseball salaries were always guaranteed. And now that's the case with the NBA. At least that's my thinking. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. Let's go back to the phone. Let's go to Tom in New Jersey. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. Tom, good afternoon.
Stephen A., how you doing? Pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much for calling. What's up?
This is what perplexes me. You have the Al Jazeera employee came out and said that the report was forced. He made it up. But the NFL is still pushing forward with it. Peyton Manning went to clear his name because he didn't want his name dragged through the sand. I can understand that. But why do you think Goodell's still pushing on this when the Al Jazeera employee came out and said that he made it all up?
Well, I think Goodell is still pushing it because I think that he has questions as to whether or not that's believable, number one. And number two, once the accusations are out there and it gains steam, if there's any degree of plausibility that can be attached to it, it's something that he's going to investigate. And number three, Tom, if I may say so, we don't know what Peyton Manning said to them.
Okay, I get you. But I just think that's where James...
You get where I'm coming? We don't know what Peyton Manning said to them.
I totally understand you. Correct. Now, I just think that's where James Harrison's point of view is coming across, saying, okay, the guy made the story up. He admitted to making it up. Why are we still going through with this? And I think he's just being hard-headed for no reason. Go talk to the man, clear your name, and be done with it. Get back in camp. Don't hurt your team. Because that's what it boils down to.
Exactly.
Thank you, Stephen A.
Totally agree with you, Tom. Thank you so much. Anthony in New Jersey, you're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. What's up, Anthony? How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Stephen A.? Big-time fan. Love hearing you on the radio, and a big-time fan of First Take. Now, listen, I'm in total agreement with you and everything that you're saying. And, brother, I got to tell you, you have missed your calling. When you took it to Pulp Fiction, and word for word, I said, this brother got it going on. I'm just waiting for the book. When you put it out, I'm going to be standing in line at that book signing. But when it comes to James Harrison, it's kind of interesting. And like you said, sometimes you got to just pick your poison. And I love the fact that you brought it home. The NFL, nothing's guaranteed. So tomorrow's not promised to you when it comes to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting. If he's fighting this for personal reasons and being selfish about it, it's one thing, when you have nothing to gain. There's another thing if you're saying, okay, I'm doing this for everybody else that follows me. Now, who knows, to be honest. But it's either one or the other. And when you look at it from that point of view, your mindset is going to be different.
Right.
Based on the situation.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you, Anthony. You're making a lot of sense. Thank you so much for your call. All right, buddy?
All right, sir.
Take it easy. Mustafa in Vancouver, you're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. What's up, Mustafa? How are you, man?
I'm doing good, brother. Good afternoon. How are you doing, man? I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing great. Thank you for calling. What's up?
I just want to talk quickly on the issue here. DeAndre Jordan, I mean, if things were not so guaranteed, I guarantee you he'll increase his free throw percentage because it's worse than Shaquille O'Neal. It's one of the worst I've ever seen.
Career 40% shooter from the free throw line in the postseason.
It's just absolutely atrocious. And you know what? I also want to talk quickly about how athletes, when their stance on social issues. I think you were talking about it on First Take with LeBron.
Before you continue, let me remind the audience of what I said. I was on First Take this morning, ESPN 2, every weekday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon with my man Max Kellerman now. I was applauding LeBron and the position and the stance that he takes. I said that he's the closest thing to perfection that we've ever seen as a professional athlete because he's a champion 3 times over with an incredible conscience. And in this day and age with the advent of social media and beyond, how invasive it is. I mean, we're more invasive in the lives of professional athletes than we are in politicians that try to run our lives. And yet this guy has been as close to flawless as you can possibly find. He's won championships. He's been to 6 consecutive NBA finals. He's a physical specimen who consistently works on his body and doesn't take his physical attributes for granted. And then he's a conscientious observer who pays attention to the things that's going on, a la Donald Sterling and, hands up T-shirts and, this stuff in terms of bringing the community together, joining CP3, Melo, and D-Wade for the ESPYs with what they did. All of these things are relevant when it comes to LeBron James, and I can do nothing but tip my cap to him and say that he's a treasure to the community because of who he is, what he represents to us all.
He is truly somebody that has a huge platform. Anything he says, people will gravitate to. And also, the thing is, I know one powerful statement that you said, I give you a lot of credit for. A lot of athletes, a lot of people in general, are blessed with height. They're not blessed with pure athleticism. And you said that they may not be able to be a LeBron James, but you know what? They can be a Stephen A. Smith through hard work. And I really appreciated when you said that. My son-in-law, wants to be in journalism. He's studying at the University of Toronto. You really inspired him. So I thank you very much for that.
All right, my man. You take it easy, okay? Have a good day, Mustafa. Appreciate the call. 888-MAD-DOG-6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. More to Stephen A. Smith Show in a minute, right here on Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
All right, everybody, listen up, because I'm about to give you some very important advice on how to get all those great things in life that you and your family need. From a credit card to a car or a house. I'm talking about those 3 little numbers called your credit score, because that credit score is the first thing lenders look at when deciding your credit fate. You need to call creditrepair.com for a free confidential credit evaluation with an experienced credit advisor who can go over your credit challenges with you right over the phone and then give you a personalized game plan to help get you started back on track to great credit. I know creditrepair.com works because on average, past members have seen a 40-point average increase in their credit scores in the first 4 months alone. There's no obligation, so stop putting your financial future on hold and call for your free credit evaluation, including a free credit report and score. Unlike other companies that just give you a free credit score, creditrepair.com can actually work to help you fix it. So call 1-800-596-0711. That's 800-596-0711. Again, that's 800-596-0711. Back to the phones we go at 888-MAD-DOG-6. That's 888-623-3646. Let's go to James in Kentucky. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. James, what's up?
What's good, Stephen A.? How you doing?
I'm good. Talk to me.
All right. So I want to talk about the Titans trade again with the Green Beckham versus for Dennis Kelly.
Who are you talking about?
The Titans trade.
The Titans trade?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know much about that right now.
All right. Well, the Titans trade Dorian Green-Beckham for Dennis Kelly. And I'm a little kind of ticked off about that because, how could you invest so much on a pick, on a former second-round pick for, an offensive lineman that you don't even know? It's almost like a gambling situation,
Well, it is hold on, wait a minute. It is a gambling situation, but here's what I think you're missing, okay? You have to remember that you're talking about the Titans, right?
Yes.
You're talking about Marcus Mariota.
Yes.
So the priority has to be protecting him. If you're not protecting him, where are you going? You got Derek McHenry. You got Derek McHenry. You've got DeMarco Murray.
Right.
But you know what? You need an offensive line to block for them so you can facilitate a better running game. Right. And you also need to protect Mariota. Because if Mariota ain't protected, you ain't going nowhere.
That's true.
So you can't knock them for that. Anytime they do anything to buffer their offensive line, that is something that you have to do. That was their top priority coming into the season. Remember, they gave up 50. You got to remember, Tennessee gave up 54 sacks last year.
Right.
That was worst in the league.
Right.
So what do you expect them to do?
But at the same time, you got to think about it as future references for the receiving corps in general. You got Justin Hunter. You got Eric Douglas that's also getting older. Probably have maybe a couple years left in him. You got Andre Johnson's probably going to be there for about a year or two. And then you also got Kendall Wright that hasn't been doing that much.
Well, let me ask you a question. James. You got Jack Conklin, right?
Uh-huh.
You got him in the first round. You got center Ben Jones, right?
Right.
Okay, who knows who else they got? I mean, I don't know. On the left side, you got a former first-round pick in Taylor Lewan, right?
Right.
All right, but what are you going to do? You don't know. I mean, again, you gave up 54 sacks last year. You're talking to me about receivers. I'm talking to you about, I don't give a damn how good your receivers are. If you can't protect Mariota, he can't get it to them. Plus, he might get himself hurt because he's going to be on suicide watch.
True.
So what are you supposed to do?
That's true, but Steven, don't you think they should have invested a little more in them, though? At least got some picks.
But who says they're not? The point is you can't get everything. It's August. The fact of the matter is you go in the offseason, you try to get what you can. If dudes ain't available, they ain't available. But the first order of business, if you buffered your running attack and you buffer your offensive line with Mariano's dual ability because he can both throw and run, that puts them in a better position to make things happen. It's not that the wide receiver position is not important. It's that it's a last priority. Because with the running game and with the offensive line, you have to protect your star franchise player.
Also allowed DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry to produce more in order to establish a receiving core as well.
Okay. I'm not saying, again, nobody's saying they can't. Nobody's saying they shouldn't. What I'm saying to you is that can't be the priority. The priority first has to be the running game, and it has to be your offensive line, because that's the number one thing you need to do to protect Marcus Mariota. I'll ask you this before letting you go, James. Is there anything on Tennessee more important than Marcus Mariota?
Nope. That's the gem. That's the gem.
Then that answers your question. You got to crawl before you walk, and the first thing you have to do is protect him before worrying about being productive, because you have no shot at productivity without protecting him first.
Exactly right, Stephen A.
Take it easy, bro. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much. Derek in Florida, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, how you doing, Stephen A? I
Talk to me,
you every day. I just want to thank you. Take a second. Thank you for everything that you do for our community. You sitting where you are, it's a big deal to us. I really wanted to talk about DeAndre Jordan today. So, I mean, his comments, Stephen A, it really bothers me too, because the whole thing is that the basketball game, that's our game. We share it with the world every 4 years. So for him to take away from that, it really bothers me, because what is the Olympics kind of game, what has that done for basketball other than our teams, the dream teams? You know what I mean? It's like, it's a mindset. This is why Russell Westbrook is as good as he is, and why he's held as high as he is, because he has a mindset. He has a killer instinct mindset, and that mindset has been lost in the NBA for some reason. It's really upsetting to see him say that.
We get upset about Russell Westbrook, for example, because he can be erratic at times with his turnovers. That is the only thing we get upset at him about. We have such a great appreciation for his competitive fervor. He wants it so bad. He's such an assassin that we sit there and marvel, not just at his athleticism, but his killer instinct. And we appreciate it, because you know when you walk through that turnstiles to watch Russell Westbrook is going to try to annihilate the competition. We wish there were a whole bunch of Russell Westbrooks in the league, and we lament the fact that we don't have them.
That's what I'm saying. And if it was China, I mean, for China, yeah, it's a big deal. But for us in the United States, our NBA teams are better than most of the world teams that are playing in the Olympics right now. So I just want, and I want him to be competitive. With CP3. I want CP3 to go to the finals.
Hold it. We don't like his attitude right now based on the quote that he gave, okay? But the fact of the matter is, before he made that quote, DeAndre Jordan was one of the league's leaders in rebounding and block shots. I don't like the quote. It ticks me off. I don't like it one bit. But let's not confuse that and give it a license to question his effort and his commitment to excellence, because it's not like he goes out there and shafts us. He dunks on 5 people a night. He blocks almost 3 shots a night, and he grabs about 13 rebounds a night. That's not shabby, bro. That's not. Let's be fair.
You're right. Thanks for your time, Stephen. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Let's go to Kendall in Washington, D.C. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. What's up, Kendall? How are you?
I'm good, brother. Good to talk with you, man. And definitely love seeing you on First Take and all the.
How we doing, man? How you liking the new show, bro?
Hey, it's good, man. It's you guys are very provocative. I guess is the word. And you guys got on my guy Kirk Cousins when all he was saying was he just wanted to kind of be, out of the line, like flying to the radar. But anyway, that's not what I want to talk about.
But we got respect for Kirk Cousins. I mean, any guy that's going to bet on himself with a $19.95 one-year franchise tag deal and show, and gladly accepts that, I got to give him respect. And I told him that to his face. I'm sure you saw that.
I did. And I tell you, what I like about that is he did it last year when things were stacked against him. The pressure, to me, $20 million is a lot of pressure. But more pressure was having a guy sitting on the sideline who the owner wanted to put in, and many of the fans wanted in, but you had to overcome not only that, but overcome also your baggage from the past with the interceptions and things, and he still did it last year. But anyway, about DeAndre, you kind of stole my thunder in terms of the competitiveness, and I think that more than the money, more than the fact that they're making all this money, is they don't have it in a lot of players. And I'm maybe a couple years younger than you. And in my mind,
48. I'm 48,
I'm
bro.
40, and I'm 45.
Okay.
And I romanticize about the 80s and the 90s.
So do I.
Even the 70s. And it seems like to me was so much more competition of guys.
Kendall, I almost can't watch NBA TV anymore, because when they start showing those highlights of the Celtics versus the Lakers, I get nostalgic, and I don't even want to talk about today's game, because I miss it so much. Exactly. I miss that old school so much, man.
I wish it was here. And like you said, I'm not a big Russell Westbrook fan. But I respect the crap out of him. I hope I was able to say that. But because of he just competes, and it's not about his legacy. It's not about what people will say if he doesn't win a championship. And I think a lot of guys, they want to win, but it doesn't come from within. And I think that Russell Westbrook will play for free. Many players of his ilk would play for free, but these guys play because they can play. DeAndre plays because he's good at what he does, and I don't think he has that burning desire. And I think that we all suffer.
I don't know if we want to accuse DeAndre of not having that burning desire. He goes out there and plays hard and plays effectively. He just can't shoot a free throw to save his life. That's his problem.
I get it, but if you're saying that you are content with a gold medal,
that's not good.
Win a gold.
That's not good,
man.
That's not good at all,
better
bro.
Than winning at all.
How about that?
Winning. The only thing that's is better than winning is not losing.
Well, winning. Let's modify that. Winning against the best.
Absolutely.
So what I'm saying to you is that, the NBA is the best. You got folks from Europe wanting to come to the league. That's why the league has successfully globalized its brand. So,
absolutely.
But he don't realize how damning his comments are, because it's like, excuse me, you ain't going against the best in Olympic competition. You're going against the best in the league that you're paid over $80 million to play in.
Absolutely.
And to say that winning against inferior competition is better than winning on the NBA level, clearly you don't know what you're talking about, because you never won on the NBA level. And clearly you don't know what you're talking about, because that's what it comes down to. Winning against the best. When you beat, my brother used to tell me this, Kendall. My late brother, God rest his soul, my brother Basil, he used to tell me this all the time. Never, ever, ever root for somebody else's demise.
Mm-hmm.
You know why, bro? This is what he said to me. You know why, bro? He said, because when you knocked them off, what did you really accomplish if they were down? You want them up and upright and at their best. So when you beat them, you've accomplished great
And that's
things.
A beautiful philosophy right there, because only you know.
That's right.
Only you know. In your heart of hearts, whether they were up or whether they were down, and you will have a sense of satisfaction if you know you beat them at their best.
Exactly. That's what competition in sports or practically anywhere else is all about.
Absolutely.
How could you possibly think otherwise if you call yourself an elite athlete? How could you possibly think otherwise? Kendall, appreciate you, bro. Thank you for calling.
Definitely.
No doubt. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. This 888-623-3646. Your phone calls to close out the show in a minute with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. To give a little bit of love to Deshaun Watson, star quarterback at Clemson University, was interviewed recently in a feature, and he was talking about the dual quarterback, being labeled a dual quarterback. He said, look at that word. That's a cold word. He goes on to say, I have no idea when asked, how is it possible after so many black quarterbacks have had successful careers in both college football and the NFL that we're still dealing with those black quarterback stereotypes? Watson's reply, I have no idea, but it's there. People think, oh, he's a black quarterback. He must be a dual threat. People throw around that word all the time. It's lazy. The one thing I learned early on as a football player is people have their opinions, and I can't change that, but I can show them what they're missing. And he goes on to that. Good point. He has a right to feel that way. This dude's a stud. He's going to be the future number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. As far as I'm concerned, he's a superstar. An incredibly nice kid. Raised by a mama who raised 4 kids. Years ago when he was 15 years old, went to the hospital with her because she had strep throat, and they found out that she had stage 4 tongue cancer and ultimately had to have her tongue removed. Think about that. Replaced with tissue from her breast. She also lost about 200 pounds, and she had to learn to speak all over again. Deshaun Watson calls her his inspiration, calls her the greatest woman on earth. I know that feeling because that's exactly how I feel about my mama, who's battling cancer herself right now. And Deshaun Watson's mom is a huge fan of mine. She doesn't realize I'm an even bigger fan of hers. So I wish them nothing but the best, both to Deshaun and his wonderful, lovely mother. Nothing but the best. God's greatest blessings moving forward. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call up. That's 888-623-3646. Before we go on out of here, let me get back to the phones. Let's go to Brandon in California. You're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Brandon, go ahead.
Okay, Stephen A. Smith, respectfully, I disagree with you when it comes to James Harrison.
Sure.
As Americans, we have no problem giving up our rights to corporations, a la in this situation, the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
James Harrison is exercising his right. He was not convicted of a crime. He was not convicted of using PEDs. Mm-hmm. He has the right to say, I don't want to speak to you.
Could you do me a favor?
Yes.
Could you do me a favor? Because I don't want to cut you short, and I know we'll go on for an argument for minutes at a time, and then I won't get to any of my callers. Could you do me a favor and call me back with that point of view tomorrow? Could you do that?
Sure.
Could you call me back? And call me back like in a 1 o'clock hour so I'll have time to discuss that.
I'm on the West Coast.
10 o'clock your time. 10 o'clock hour your time. Could you do that for me?
Sure.
I'll make sure they put you right on, okay?
10 o'clock.
Something in the 10 o'clock hour. Just when you call, I'm going to put you on.
Okay,
so we can talk about that. Thank you, buddy. Let's go to Reverend Wheeler in Maryland. You're live with Stephen A. on Mad Dog. Reverend Wheeler, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Stephen A. Listen, thanks again for taking my call. I don't know if you remember me.
I remember you. I remember you well, but I need you. You sound like you're in a tunnel or something. I need my listeners to hear you clearly, sir. But go ahead.
Oh, okay. Is that better?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. One thing I wanted to say: prayers for Deshaun and prayers for you and your family, because I lost my mother to cancer 3 years ago. So I've been down that road. So prayers to go out to your family and Deshaun's family as they deal with that. So just wanted to put that there. Then the second thing is that me being born and raised in Pittsburgh, I'm a diehard Steelers fan, love James Harrison. But here's the thing. This is what I'm going to say. If the Creator on high has given you the opportunity that you worked and sweated and all the work that you put into playing at a professional level, to play a game that you love, and you're being paid, I don't know how much he made, but I'm sure he makes more than a preacher or a teacher, okay? So my point is this. If your boss or your boss's boss is calling you to say, I just need to meet with you. I just need to meet with you. Here's what I'm going to say. This is where pride comes in. And as you know, pride disgusts the Lord. And so I pray that Brother Harrison does the right thing, because just as quickly as God blessed him and led him to the accomplishments that he's achieved at a national level, it can be taken away in an instant. And pride needs to be put aside, and you need to humble up, pull your bootstraps up, get on that plane from Pittsburgh to New York, and see what your boss's boss wants to talk to you about. That's it.
I appreciate it, Reverend Whelan. Thank you so much for that call. Let's go to Antonio in Texas. You're live with Stephen A. Real quick, Antonio. Go ahead, buddy.
Hey, Stephen A. Well, first of all, Gamma Spring 86. What's up, dog team?
No doubt. What's up, Ru? Ru, to you. What's going on, man? Talk to me.
Real quick, hey, I just want to say that, you know what, I echo the sentiments of the Reverend there. I think that James Harrison, he needs to just step up. If he has nothing to hide, Stephen A., go speak. Hey, just say, hey, go tell your boss. Look, this is what I did. This is what I didn't do. Simple as that. Point blank.
It ain't that complicated, bro. It ain't that complicated, bro.
It's not. It's simple. It's that simple. All right, dog. Ru.
Talk to you later, my man. Appreciate the call. Call back anytime. Antonio in Texas. 888 Mad Dog 6 is always the number to call. It's 888-623-3646. We're about to sign off. Get on out of here. Christopher Mad Dog Russo's Afternoon Drive Show is coming up next. Got a lot of stuff that I didn't get to today that I'll get more into tomorrow. Team USA. What Barkley had to say about that. More on LeBron James. Who knows? Probably more on DeAndre Jordan. Definitely more on James Harrison. The list goes on and on. But Mad Dog Russo's up next with his Afternoon Drive Show. This is Stephen A. signing off until 22 hours from now. Peace and love, everybody.